What's going on, PlayDate Community? Welcome back to another episode. My name is Franchovy, and in this tutorial series, we are building your game. So, last time we were working on the difficulty spawning. So, let's get right into it. All right, let's clean up this difficulty stuff because it's a mess. To put it nicely. We're not gonna do this get difficulty stuff. Instead, we're just gonna call that difficulty.update. So difficulty is actually gonna be its own class in utils. So I'm gonna create a new file in utils called difficulty.lua. I'm gonna create this difficulty table. I guess it's a static class sort of thing. I want you guys to understand that, like, if you create a class like, let's say, score, there's not really anything different from doing this class score and just saying score equals empty table. In fact, just to prove a point, I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to do the same thing inside difficulty. So I'm going to create a table called difficulty. This is going to be my difficulty class, and I'm going to add a few functionalities for it. So I'm going to say difficulty.restart. Sorry. Function difficulty.restart, and I'm going to add another one called function difficulty.update, and I'm going to say function difficulty.getValue, open close brackets. So restart's going to reset the difficulty to 1. So I'm just going to do self.value equals 1. Okay, so we have our function and stuff here. So I'm just going to copy and paste this block of code from main.lua and I'm going to bring it into difficulty.lua. I'm going to paste it at the top right there. So we have this stuff like growth rate, exponent, game start time. So that's actually going to be the restart one. So we're going to do self.start time equals playdate.getCurrent time milliseconds, open close brackets. So that's going to be that line that we no longer need. Then we've got the get difficulty thing. I'm going to put it inside difficulty.update. So it's going to be local current time equals playdate get current time milliseconds minus self.start time. So that's the current time. And then instead of doing return 1 plus growth rate, etc., I'm going to do self.value equals growth rate, etc. So turns out it is useful to have that class thing because you can't do self without it, if that makes sense. So score can actually stay as it is because we're just using a local. Meanwhile here, if we're using self, then that implies that there's an instance. So I'm going to do class open brackets difficulty close brackets, and that's going to be our difficulty class. I am going to create a difficulty equals empty table right above it, and I'm going to do @ class difficulty. So that's going to help with code autocomplete in the rest of our game. Now we're not dealing with .restart, we're dealing with :restart, :update, :getValue. And we're going to do function difficulty, :init. And I am going to pass in these two parameters here, growth rate and exponent. I'm going to do self.growth rate equals growth rate, self.exponent equals exponent, and then I'm going to do self::restart. And we're missing one last thing inside the init, which is difficulty.super.init self, which you guys should know that by now because I think we've done it a few times. All right, and then restart. This sets the values here, perfect. Exponent, game start time, difficulty, so this is just the value. And then so difficulty :getValue, we're going to do return self.value. And then in difficulty.update, we just need to add self in front of growth rate, and then we're going to do self.exponent. Okay, whew, that was moving everything and making it cleaner. So I hope you guys followed along. We're going to go into main.lua, and we're going to use this new difficulty class. We need to instantiate the class of difficulty in the main.lua. So instead of instantiate classes, I'm going to separate that into two. I'm going to say instantiate sprites, and then instantiate utility classes. So that's going to be, for example, enemy spawner, and it's also going to be local difficulty equals difficulty, and I'm pretty sure it's 0.01 comma 0.4. Okay, so now that we've got our difficulty here, we can remove the difficulty from the enemy spawner colon update. I guess the one thing that we can do is we can also pass in the difficulty to the enemy spawner. So I'm going to move the line difficulty above the enemy spawner, and I'm going to pass it in after enemy.spawnRatePerTick, comma difficulty. All right, I'm going to go back to our spawner. We don't need the difficulty here anymore. However, I am going to add it to the init function. So spawnRatePerTick, comma difficulty. I'm going to add self.difficulty equals difficulty inside the init after spawnRatePerTick. And then in the update function, instead of saying just difficulty, I'm going to say self.diff. Ooh, wait, that's wrong because we're confusing the value and the class. So this is actually the difficulty generator. So I'm not going to do self.difficulty. I'm going to say check if sprite should be spawned. Set next spawn. Okay, so I'm going to say get current difficulty. I'm going to do local difficulty equals self.difficulty colon get value. And I'm sad because it didn't recognize. I guess we need to add autocomplete here if we want to do that. Anyways, value. And then we're no longer talking about the self difficulty. We're talking about the generator here. Whew. I hope we made it through. I hope you guys made it through. Again, oh, I didn't make it through. Oh, we forgot to import it. So let's go to our utils.lua and add import, open quotes, utils/difficulty. Restart. Still not working. Oh yeah. Okay. So sorry guys. This should be a very common issue if you are ever programming, but the difference between the dot and the colon is a sensitive one. So we want to update the difficulty using a colon, not using a dot. And I'm just going to casually move that up above the other stuff, and I'm going to add two comments. I'm going to say update classes, and then I'm going to add at the bottom of that drawing and scene logic. All right, spaceship A to start. Let's go. Again, we don't have a debug log of what's the difficulty right now, which is very sad. I'm just gonna print it out from the spawner, but it looks to be working. I'm gonna do print difficulty inside spawner.update after the difficulty is set by self.difficulty get value. Let's try again. Let's monitor that. All right, so you can see that the difficulty is slowly increasing with every spawn, which is ideal. It's exactly what we want. And hopefully you guys can see also that it's like the mobs are spawning at a more regular basis, and basically if you keep playing, they're gonna come more and more often. Last thing, before I forget, difficulty restart needs to go into game start. So I'm gonna add difficulty colon restart over here. Okay, perfect. Okay, oh wow, that was unexpected. All right. Okay, so we're at 1.34. You can see that we started with 1.04. Let's just end the game really quickly. Okay, and we're gonna restart again. And you can see that we're again at 1.04, 1.12, so the restart works. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys very soon. The next thing we're gonna do is, I just put displaying high score, which is another housekeeping item. So yeah, I guess that's it for now. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.